Interior areas of the Kubuchi Desert in Inner Mongolia, there's a place called Dalad Banner that defies the usual notions of life in a desert. Farmers there are raising rabbits, millions of rabbits, and these rabbits bring in huge amounts of money.
1,000,000 rabbits, released into the Chinese desert like a living tide of fur and promise, began as a rumor. It seemed crazy to many. How could delicate, soft animals live in one of the most hostile environments on the planet, let alone recover it? However, what started out as a last-ditch ecological risk would eventually prove to be a complete surprise. Because something remarkable started to grow in the endless dunes of northern China. The cause? Adorable little bunnies. Almost none believed in the project. The wind never seems to stop at the edge of the Dalad Banner in Inner Mongolia. Over time, it engulfed entire settlements in a persistent haze of sand that obscured the horizon. The earth was brittle, fractured, and yellow. It has become synonymous with loss for the inhabitants. This area, which was formerly grassland, had been losing ground to the desert for many years. Rivers dwindled, crops failed, and families departed for provinces with more greenery. Among the unending sands and dust, this is where one of China's most bizarre ecological experiments began. Situated on the southern border of the Gobi Desert, which has long been a battleground in China's fight against desertification, the Dalad Banner is a portion of the huge Ordos Plateau. The government calculated that by the early 2000s, desert land accounted for over 25% of the nation's land area, endangering not only people's means of subsistence, but also the stability of ecosystems and urban areas. Downwind. Inner Mongolian dust storms frequently swept across Beijing and even traveled as far as Korea and Japan. A national priority was established to halt the march of the desert. In order to plant billions of trees along its northern border, China has already started the 3 North Shelter Belt program, also referred to as the Great Green Wall internationally. However, even tough saplings found it difficult to survive in areas like Dalad Banner due to the severe temperature and damaged soil. The government started providing funding for regional pilot programs that investigated non-traditional restoration techniques. The idea of releasing rabbits into the desert was one of them. It was so unconventional that at first it sounded more like a fable than a scientific strategy. A small group of ecologists collaborated with regional herders and agricultural specialists to develop the concept. Animals, especially small, quick-reproducing herbivores, might assist in kick-starting the ecosystem by aerating soil, enriching it with droppings, and dispersing native plant seeds, they contended. Even if trees might take years to establish roots, they reasoned that rabbits possessed the ideal balance of flexibility and resilience. Theoretically, they could dig burrows that retained moisture, live off of scant vegetation, and foster the establishment of new plants. China had already turned to animals for environmental solutions. To control vegetation and maintain dunes, authorities in other desert areas have tried using goats, camels, and even grazing sheep. But rabbits, light-footed, prolific, and frequently considered pests elsewhere, were a gamble. According to the idea, around 1,000,000 rabbits would be released under strict control over the course of many months throughout enclosed experimental zones in Dalad Banner after being bred at nearby facilities. The scientific community was split when word of the research leaked out. Some viewed it as a novel form of biological engineering, a living instrument to re-establish equilibrium in situations where labor and equipment had failed. Others were concerned that it would replicate the mistakes made during the Australian rabbit crisis, in which local agriculture and ecosystems were severely damaged by imported European rabbits. Social media in China was ablaze with incredulity. "They're converting the desert into a rabbit farm?" a Weibo commenter said. "Has history taught us anything?" However, the project wasn't careless in the eyes of the researchers who were working on it. It was carefully regulated. To avoid overcrowding, kilometers of fencing surrounded each release place. Teams of monitors recorded population sizes, soil composition, and vegetation recovery. To shield the creatures from the harsh weather, artificial burrows were excavated and solar-powered pumps were used to establish tiny water stations. Letting rabbits run amok wasn't the aim, but to determine if they could support soil regeneration and coexist with natural desert plants. When the light was still gentle on the dunes in the spring, the first discharge occurred. The occurrence was observed by a few journalists, scientists, and local leaders. Hundreds of rabbits, initially shy, then leaping freely as though testing their new home, ran across the sand as crates were unlocked. One spectator observed, "They looked out of place, but strangely determined." It was a hazy first couple of weeks. Predators like foxes and hawks killed some rabbits. Some had trouble finding enough food. However, those that survived started excavating, forming networks of burrows that changed the surface of the dunes. Their excavation caused the desert's compacted crust to relax, letting moisture and air in. Their nitrogen-rich excrement started to nourish the sparse soil. The burrow clusters were soon surrounded by patches of tough grasses, primarily Salix and Artemisia species. In areas of Dalad Banner where there had previously been no green, satellite photography by the end of the summer revealed subtle green traces spreading. Although it wasn't a verdant meadow, it was evidence that life may come back. Researchers found that two important markers of ecological recovery, soil humidity and microbial activity, had increased. After initially being dubious, local herders started to see fewer dust storms and somewhat colder ground temperatures close to the trial zones. The move was cautiously praised by Chinese official media, which referred to it as a new chapter in desert control. Reactions around the world ranged from admiration to derision. "China's army of bunnies to battle the desert," a Western headline joked. Beneath the amusement, however, was a sincere interest in whether a creature of that size could indeed upset the equilibrium of an entire ecosystem. The response was personal to the residents of Dalad Banner. They lived in the desert, so it was more than simply a scientific issue. They had to give up herding customs after generations of seeing their grasslands transform to sand. Even in its infancy, the Rabbit Project stood for something greater, a feeling of potential. Perhaps the tide would eventually shift if the desert could turn green once more, even in tiny areas. By the conclusion of the first year, the project team shared their initial findings, which included the following. Native plant coverage had doubled. Tiny birds had started to nest close to the burrow networks, and soil organic matter had grown by almost 15% in some regions. In order to prevent overbreeding, population controls were implemented, and the rabbits themselves continued to be closely monitored. The project was cautiously declared a success, far from the ecological catastrophe some had expected. The release of the rabbit by Dalad Banner became a symbol of creativity and evidence that unexpected sources may contribute to ecological regeneration. It didn't eliminate decades of desertification in a single day, but it also spurred a fresh discussion about how people should cooperate with nature's tiniest architects rather than oppose them. What started off as a crazy concept was now being researched as a possible template for upcoming rehabilitation initiatives in northern China. The desert had started to resurface in the center of Inner Mongolia, surrounded by dunes that had previously appeared to last forever. 1 million bunnies, who were modest, underappreciated, and silently changing the land's history, were at the heart of that transformation. However, what followed would silence the doubters, because those rabbits accomplished something no one could have predicted in just one season. They started altering the desert itself. From experiment to ecological miracle. The process. Dalad Banner's transformation took time to complete. It started out softly, with the sound of wind rustling freshly loosened sand, and the dim green glimmer of grass that dared to sprout again where none had for decades. In contemporary China, what had begun as a small scientific experiment was now developing into one of the most widely watched ecological phenomena. The monitoring stations scattered throughout the desert operated around the clock in the initial weeks following the release. Everything was noted by the researchers, including vegetation growth, soil moisture, feeding habits, and burrow patterns. Photographs of rabbits scuttling between clumps of resilient bushes were taken by drones flying over the dunes. The results, which showed restricted movement, irregular feeding, and increased mortality from heat and predators, initially appeared normal. Survival was never assured in the harsh desert environment. However, by summertime, trends started to show. The remaining rabbit populations gathered close to dry riverbeds and shady depressions, where subterranean moisture persisted. Instinctively and unrelentingly, they began excavating there, building networks of tunnels and little mounds. In addition to providing the animals with shelter, these burrows developed into microhabitats. Water accumulated in the dugouts rather than immediately disappearing into the sand when it rained, even a little. Wind-blown seeds took sanctuary in these moist areas and germinated more quickly than normal. Another surprising factor was the rabbits' eating habits. As some critics had predicted, their moderate grazing promoted regeneration rather than removing the vegetation completely. By nipping the tops of budding shoots, encouraging horizontal plant growth that increased ground coverage and stabilized the soil. Their droppings, which were high in organic matter and nitrogen, served as a natural fertilizer in tiny but consistent amounts, nourishing the delicate environment. By the project's second phase, scientists could clearly discern signs of change. Microbial activity, which is essential for restoring fertility, was shown to be increasing in soil samples. Once dead, the topsoil started to hold on to moisture for longer. A modest but important indicator of the desert's cooling was the local temperature near burrow clusters, which decreased by over 1 degree Celsius when compared to the surrounding arid zones. The same was true of satellite data. Green patches that were only specks at first started to join together like dots to form a huge mosaic. The pilot zones saw a more than 20% increase in vegetation covering in just 1 year. Dune stabilization happened organically as a result of the sand becoming less prone to drifting where vegetation grew. Even seasoned ecologists were shocked by the sight. One researcher from Inner Mongolia University said, "The desert is learning to breathe again." However, there were some problems with the project. Because of the increased quantity of prey, predators like foxes and eagles started to follow the rabbits' route. The project team chose to let the natural predator-prey dynamics play out, rather than meddling too much in order to keep things in balance. Despite being dangerous, this choice turned out to be smart. By controlling the rabbit population, the predators helped avoid overgrazing. Dalad Banner was observing the reconstruction of a small biosphere, layer by layer, in a matter of months. Among the first to notice the shift were local ranchers, who had previously witnessed the disappearance of their land. A peasant named Bao, who had spent more than 30 years living on the edge of the desert, claimed that the sandstorms were less frequent anymore. The sheep have access to more grass, and the air is less painful. Even a slight rebound appeared revolutionary to groups that had long been accustomed to poverty or migration. A few locals were enlisted to help with fence construction, solar-powered water station maintenance, and project monitoring. The project was social as well as ecological, re-establishing people's ties to the land. The administration reacted quickly. Motivated by the Dalad Banner results, provincial officials extended the experiment to a number of other areas, including portions of the Kubuki Desert, another desertification hotspot. The initiative was incorporated into China's larger Desert Reversal campaign after being dubbed a controlled ecological success by the National Forestry and Grassland Administration. In order to improve the method, more funding was made available, and fresh teams were sent out to explore combinations of native plant species that would work best with the rabbits, improve burrow designs, and modify the number of releases. Scientists throughout the world started to pay attention. Environmental journals referred to it as a soft engineering strategy that uses animal behavior in its natural state to accomplish environmental objectives. Dalad Banner was mentioned by the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, UNCCD, as an illustration of an inventive restoration approach that combines biological remedies with traditional land knowledge. In a world where climate debates were frequently dominated by billion-dollar technologies, China's rabbit experiment sounded almost lyrical in its simplicity. The research behind the headlines was painstaking. Every colony of rabbits was GPS tracked and recorded. Thousands of soil and vegetation samples were gathered by field researchers, who then compared them to control sites that were not involved in the project. Higher amounts of organic carbon, greater root density, and enhanced water retention were the consistent outcomes. Small birds were drawn in by the insects, beetles, ants, and pollinators that were drawn in by these microchanges. The formerly desolate pilot zones began to host an unexpected diversity of species within 3 years. However, the visual alteration was the most noticeable. Once lifeless dunes turned pale green in the spring and then deepened into emerald as summer approached. Little meadows were created by the swaying grass between burrow entrances. In comparison to China's vast deserts, the alteration was small in scale, but it was enormous symbolically. The Dalad Banner experiment demonstrated that extensive replanting was not always necessary for recovery. Sometimes it started with a small animal and a huge concept, whether it was advertising or costly technology.